right. We are on live. Yay. Okay. Thank you all for attending. And I'm going to try and cover some highlights of Dispelling World Glamour. You know, we're not going to do that puja right now, but we're in the process of that. And I am. I do it all the time. It's very effective, and I know what's going down, and I know what effect it is going to have on humanity, and I know it's going to be really kind of tough, yeah? But it's majorly tough for those who are committed to conspiracy theories and illusions and delusions and grandiose utopian ideologies. And in politics, there's a quality in politicians, and humanity is under a delusion themselves. They think the politician is there to support society, that the mayor's going to take care of you, the governor's going to take care of your state, and that all the congressmen and the House of Representatives are got that job because they want to take care of your district, you know, right down to the very smallest measure of circumstances, your bridges, you know, your toll booths, all those things that you personally need to be taken care of. Yeah, but do they get taken care of? No. You know, but we have politicians, a lot of politicians, yeah, and they all got jobs, and they all have really nice jobs in a really nice building with a really great opportunity, yeah. But the deal is that we're under delusion. We're under as though this is a movie or a TV show, yeah, and that all the politicians are actually people who want to be actors, famous actors, really famous actors. And they can't be famous actors because that's a hard job. That's a really hard job. You know, the chances of you getting an acting job, becoming famous, well-known, have media stop you at the airport, you know, do all the things you see happening to all other famous people, yeah, they happen to politicians. Well, then all the people who want that glory, who want that ideology, that idea, this is who I am, having nothing to do with service. Just like an actor. What actor has anything to do with service other than buying another Porsche and another Maserati and another mansion and you know, get rid of this lady and get another one, you know, and have 4 or 5 on the side, you know. It's just the nature of the beast. It's the nature, you know. And we are in illusion because everybody's clapping like crazy-ass idiots at this terrible beast that is running amok, you know, in our society. And it maintains the government. It maintains your media. You look on Twitter, and all the crazy-ass people on Twitter want to be actors. They all want to be actors. Well, you go to YouTube, you know, they just want to be famous. You know, some want to do service and help, but they get caught in that area, you know, where the glamour starts hitting. You know, even the ones who say, I'm here for the poor, I'm here to, you know, but once the many 1,000 or 1 million subscribers come online, you know, you change your ego totally. You groom up a bit, you know, you start looking more like an actor every day, yeah, because it has nothing to do with the process of need for humanity. Nothing. You know, so with that in play, yeah, with that under the circumstances, and we have all these jobs and all these opportunities, you know, how do we get things to happen? You know, when you got people there that are only interested in people slapping them on the back and handing them a check and supporting their deals so that they can become more famous. Yeah, maybe get bigger jobs and, you know, in higher Senate realms, you know, and become the head of the Senate or the head of the House of Representatives or maybe even the president. And look at what we had. We had Ronald Reagan, you know, and everybody thinks he was a real president. Really? You honestly think that man was a president? He wasn't a president. He was an actor playing the part of a president. And he was in fame and glory before he ever got there. So when England looked at him, you know, even the Queen, you know, the Prime Minister, oh my God, it's him. You know, you know, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to stand next to John Wayne. You know, I am in league with the most famous actors in the world. And this is a prime minister, this is a king or a queen, you know? And the people they look up to are the one who have attained fame, you know? And we get Arnold Schwarzenegger, we throw him in there, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, because go to India, you know, you'll find that most of the politicians come right out of acting. You know, really well-known actors, they go right up and say, I want to be prime minister, I want to be in charge. You know, I want to continue being famous because this job doesn't last forever. You know, being a politician can last for the end of your life. You know, and it's just a play, and you think this whole thing is a play, so you don't really give a shit. You know, you don't really care at all. Yeah, because, you know, you have all these things going on. Yeah. So in order to clear that up, you know, that there has to be major changes. Yeah. And we have to come to realize that in this play, in this really bad movie, you know, of Democrats and Republicans, you know, an illusion behind Democrats and Republicans. And all it is people who are educated and try hard and want to care and join in politics, and they become Democrats. You know, and they do their darndest. You know, they work for trying to get paper recycled, and they work to try and get, you know, PG&E to work with better electrical processes. These are all real representatives of the people, and their majority is that they're Democrats or even socialists. You know, people who are on the edge. You know, because they really are not interested in following the norm. You know, becoming a Republican just so that they'll get elected. Yeah? Yeah. So there are many, many Republicans right now that are going through a process of healing. Yeah. Fox News doesn't want to be healed. Fox News is crazier than shit. You know, totally crazy. Insane people. Obviously insane. They all are mentally deranged. Mentally deranged. You know, they're just on the outskirts of being in an insane asylum, but you know, there are the rest of the 89% of society who's also deranged, you know, who's not in an insane asylum, you know, because we don't really qualify that level of deranged as being necessary to protect ourselves from them having to do harm to us or to themselves, which is usually when we put them in a padded cell, you know, and take care of them, you know, and give them a bunch of drugs and put them back to sleep. Yeah, because we really don't know what to do. We you know, the doctors are nutty. You know, you watch TV shows about doctors and they're popping pills, you know, trying to get with it. You know, they're popping pills, taking codeine and all kinds of weird shit. And on the side, you know, you're thinking, well, you know, he's still doing his job. You know, he's a genius. It's amazing how they pull it off. And for years, shows like that would go on TV showing this corrupt reality behind medicine, in medicine. Yeah? People taking advantage of people, people stealing drugs and shooting them up. You know? You know, all these shows. Yeah? And no one learns shit from it. Everybody just kind of like, well, you know, does that really happen? I guess it does. You know, well, it's a hard job, you know. You got to get away with something, you know. You know, you think in a delusion. You think these people are saints. You think these politicians are saints, that they're there to be of service, but they're really not. Yeah, so there's a process in Dispelling World Glamour. It's a process of awakening chakras. Yeah, and when that happens, it happens in your worst hour, in your worst possible. You know, you just find out you got cancer. Well, now's the time to wake up. Yeah, now's the time to talk to God. You know, now's the time to meditate. Now's the time to go healthy. You know, and it is for everybody. And you get a little wiser. You get a little bit more patient. You actually think you got a second chance. And you're dying. You're actually dying. You know, but we don't really play it through right. You know, through our life. We don't do anything to protect ourselves, anything to prevent this process. And we don't have systems, schools, and all the things that's necessary to give us these processes that are necessary for us to live, for us to exist, to not be stressed, to have an employment, to do what it is our heart would like us to do. Yeah, you know, so all of that is necessary in our society. Yeah, but we have politicians that think that they're actors, And we treat them like they're actors. We let them go off and carry guns and shoot, and say everybody should have a gun, and these people keep saying the craziest ass things. They say, well, it's the satellites that took over the vote, and another guy who's fluffing pillows in the background is saying, well, it's the Chinese, they voted for us, and it wasn't really us voting, it was the Chinese doing it, and these are actors. That pillow guy is an actor. He's an actor in a commercial. He sells freaking pillows. Yeah? Do you think he believes in his pillows? He's an actor. Of course he does. When you're an actor, you lie. And you believe it. And it becomes you. It becomes your personality. Sometimes you take on the part. And you can't get outside of it. It's the same with police officers and other people. That's not good. That is not good. When anything we step into, we step out of ourselves and we become what it is that we just stepped into. That's not good. That's not good. You never want that to happen. Yeah? You never want yourself to change like that. Yeah? And it can happen. It can happen through peer pressure. It can happen through clothing, by joining the tennis team, by becoming a football player, by anything you do inside of a group. Yeah? The moment you do that, you lose your true self, and you think that you're sponsoring your true self, but it's really not the way. But it's the cheapest way. It's the aggressive way. It's how you treat people when they're slaves. It's how you treat children when you don't believe in them. It's all these systems in ourselves that we've never been taught. We've never learned how to be a human being, ever. So it is a very bad. Police officers are not so good. Your politicians are not so good. Your president is the biggest pervert on planet Earth. He rapes children. He grabs women in all ways. Yeah? And he'll do a lip lock immediately on any pretty girl he sees. Now he's in his 70s, so that doesn't happen quite easily. Since he was president and stuff, it probably hasn't happened much at all, even with his wife. Because the guy is not a sex guy. He's not real sex. He's a predator. He's a person who rapes people. Rape has nothing to do with sex. Rape has to do with hostility and hate. Hate. Yeah? You take it out on someone. You leave them there in complete, immoral destitute. Yeah? And say shit and do shit and, just do it. Yeah? And you're ripping this person apart like a demon. Yeah? There's no sex in that. There's no sex. The person doing it is not having sex. It's a violent act, an act of violence, an aggressive act of taking over a person and literally, holding their body in your control. Like you steal someone and you hold them under your control. And that is a hostile act. It never has anything to do with sex, even though it is an aggressive sexual process. Yeah, we call it sex because it comes out in the term of sex, but it's only a way to make a person feel less and to harm a person for the rest of their life. Yeah, and it's better than just shooting them. Rape really tortures them for the rest of their life. Yeah. So this is a real evil thing, a really bad evil thing. Yeah. And our president does it all the time. He did it to his wife. His wife literally kicked him out of the house and asked for a divorce because when she had sex with him and didn't want to finish it or complete any process, he would rape her in a very aggressive, raping way. Yeah, and she pointed that out in the news. She pointed it out in the newspaper. She pointed it out in the court. This is his wife, let alone just women that he meets. So this is a standard that happens when you attain fame. These glamours take over the person, and you get a delusion of grandeur of who you are and what you can do. It's like white supremacist or things like that. It's all a delusion of grandeur, but it leads to hate. It allows you to express hate, which is not a natural expression in the human being. It's not in any way, shape, or form. We really have no energy whatsoever toward hate. None. But it could be fostered. Yeah? It could be moved. You can go toward, delusions of grandeur or fame or glory, and if it keeps building up, then you get this supremacist. I am white. I am better than you. I own the police. I pay for you. Who thinks like that? Who thinks like that? Other than the person who hates people. Yeah. It's an aspect of how you communicate when you're hateful. And you never have sex. You never have any intimate reality whatsoever because of the hate that is inside. You always feel guilt. You always feel suspicion. You always feel distrust. All these things because you're in the land of hate. Yeah. And it's like a movie. We have to foster delusions of grandeur in people thinking that Trump was a playboy, some kind of neat guy, rich and famous, just like a million other playboys. But nowadays, we're coming to find out those playboys are rapists, pedophiles, predators. Yeah? They did nothing good with their life. They ruined hundreds and thousands of people's lives. They could ruin a whole nation. They could ruin a world. Yeah? So that energy has to stop. It has to stop. And you can't wait for the law. You can't wait for the government to come in. You can't go out and get a gun and start shooting people because they do bad like this. Yeah? It's through dispelling of glamour that it happens, through me. Yeah? And the more I'm working in this process, you will see events that are happening, such as an ousting of a president, yeah, throwing him under the tracks twice, yeah, trying to kick him out of being the president, yeah, have him go crazy in front of everybody and create a riot, storming the White House, and try and block a sitting president from his duties. That's treason. Anybody in the right mind would see that as treason, but we're not in our right mind. Because he's famous. He's famous. When you're famous, you're a white supremacist on the very top of the edge of all that's wrong. Literally, all that's wrong. Yeah? And that, if that doesn't fall, if we don't grab that, take it, strangle it, kill it, keep it from its predator situation. In other words, you throw it into court and you judge it for the rest of its life, having it go, so what about this person? We're going to spend 3 or 4 weeks on that. And then, okay, I'll pay it. Here's $158,000, let's get this person out of the way, What's next? Well, how about this person? This is a nice little lady, or this is a great big building complex and all these contractors and all these people you never paid. Come to find out, we actually have verification that didn't happen. And, sir, that is illegal. So in the state of New York, we're finding that there are 128 cases against you. Yeah. And it keeps drawing out. And it's personal, and it is treason, all the way to the point of taking a president and putting him in prison. Yeah. So when we grapple with the truth, when we finally come to discern the truth, and it takes a collective body, because Christ is the Christ consciousness of a collective body. Yeah, it is true democracy. It weighs in everybody's opinion. Yeah, and if our opinions aren't honed in with Christ, and then we will not collectively, because we think we're all little independent personalities. We all have the right to have a gun. We all have the right to say we don't wear a mask. We all have the right. We're independent. You do not have the right to tell me what to do. But that's not true. We do have the right to tell other people what to do. Yeah? And it is not an evil thing. But in a very egotistical person, it is an evil attempt to stop their ego from reaching that ladder of fame and control over you and white supremacy and all those different things. Yeah. So we've had In our government, we've had a major majority of real pigs, living their life through their political arena and taking advantage, like Cuomo. We just saw him gone. Yeah. Why? Well, guess what? Glamours exist. Yeah. And dispelling glamours exist. And it happens through the truth. And the truth allows people to have strength and courage as a collective body, and stand up and say, I'm going to go to court. I'm going to say something. I'm going to go to the newspaper. I am going to file, And this is his assistant. This is the last lady he had major encounter with. Yeah. And there was nothing he could say or do, to deny what was going on just because it wasn't seen, it wasn't witnessed. Yeah. But he knows inside himself the truth. Yeah. And when the dispelling of glamour takes place, the judgment begins and the person steps aside. In other words, they retire or they quit. Yeah. Which is what happened to him. Yeah. And that's also what happened to Trump. He did not lose the election. He quit. He got in his little tiny helicopter with his wife and left early in the morning. Didn't even shake hands with the president. Didn't do anything of all right relations of any kind. Yeah. He lived it out perfectly, exactly as you would, with your tail swooped between your legs, and and you sneak out, and you're under delusion of grandeur, thinking that the military's going to give you a military salute, 1,000 people's going to be at the airport. No, there's like 8 of his kids standing there crying, looking at daddy getting on the airplane all alone with mommy going, get on the airplane, let's go, get out of here, let's go to Florida. I'm changing my dress the moment I get on the plane. And she did. She changed into this really ugly, shit suit, just the way it was. It didn't surprise anybody. She's the one who wears a jacket and says, I don't care, when she goes to see the kids in Mexico. Who does that? People who channel. When you're an actor, you don't know the clothes you're putting on because you're there to make a statement, and it's not you. Just like you becoming a police officer and all of a sudden you become an evil person because you have the suit, you have the friends, you have the situation, you have the authority. You can use that authority, but it's not your authority. It's Satan's, and Satan's going to drive you all the way to hell. First class. Yeah. So we could just see it in them. Yeah, they could see it. He's still got his board meeting going on with the cabinet, and he still thinks he's president. And today's the day he was supposed to come back into office and become president of the United States. Today's the day, but that didn't really happen. But that was supposed to happen in March too, but that didn't really happen. And sometime maybe in June. No, we'll push it on to August 13th. No, never really happened. Yeah. Nothing like that ever is going to happen. Yeah. But what will happen is that enormous numbers of people are going to have wake-ups in the middle of the night while they're watching TV, while they're looking at their kid, while they're talking to their wife. There's going to be, I am busted. And if I go any further, I will end up in prison, or I will end up in a horrible, I won't be the famous person I wanted to turn out to be. I'll turn out like Fox News, somebody who worked for Fox News, and anybody who works for Fox News is not going to get a very good job after that. Because you have no credibility. You lose all your credibility when you're a liar and you're a deceiver and a con person. But when you're in a system that is liars and deceivers and con people, and they benefit from it by lying to you, by creating fake news and fake different kinds of illusionary things. News isn't exactly what it is played out to be, because if it was news, they would be researching what is going on today, really, what is really going on today. And they'd find new things, because there are all kinds of new things that happen that don't just go into United Press and you pick it up and you read it and you go, I'm going to report that. So is CNN, so is CBN, so is, so is everybody else. They're all reporting the same thing. So you got to just figure out how you're going to report it. Maybe I'll get someone over there and take video and stand in front of it and act like we're reporting it. I mean, really, where in reality they're supposed to be researching things. They're supposed to be finding out whether or not there's pollutants in children's water, because there might be, and if as a media reporter, as a reporter for society, if you look into things like that, which is what you're supposed to be doing, and we've uncovered so many things in our society because of this kind of reporting, this kind of research, and that's what it's meant for. But if it's there to actually block you from the truth by exaggerating to get your interest, to create a TV show, that you're interested in, and this TV character that you want to watch, like on Fox News, the guy with the bow tie, who lies all the time. But he's a flamboyant liar. And a flamboyant liar is the one that people want to listen to the most. Because they're screaming and hollering and lying, and they're just going, God, can that be true? Is there chips in the vaccines? Are we all being implanted? Is this all happening? It's not a hoax, it's real. And he's just saying bullshit in his head. I read the other day, and he doesn't even mention I read the other day. He said, it could be a chip. And that's as far as he goes. He doesn't say where he got that information, why he got that, why he's even saying it. He just says it in order to implant a lie, an insinuation, a sense of gossip into people. And these are all the things we're not supposed to be doing if we're healthy. If we're healthy, we're supposed to have a right view, right intention, right action, right speech, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and meditation. It's our nature. It's, if whatever we're doing, if we're driving, if we're eating, whatever we're doing, if we're having a conversation, if we're working, if we're fixing something, if we're being employed, we want to be on time. We want to be fucking dressed. We want to have taken a shower. We want to have right view. How do you see yourself? Are you really meant to be working here? That's a good point to start off with. And with that, you get right intention. Wow, what is my intention for being here? It doesn't really sound good because I'm only making a $9.95 an hour and I get no benefits whatsoever. Well, what is the right action? I quit. I quit. And now I have another view. And now I have another intention. I'm looking for a job. But I'm looking for a job because I know that there's a job out there for me, and I got to stop having this low view of myself that I'm a dishwasher or a fry cook or a carpenter that works in a crew that is very temporary. All these little temporary jobs you may take because that's the view of yourself. Where in reality, if you're meditating, you start down here. You meditate. You take the time to quit. You take time to meditate and get mindfulness. In other words, you study your ass off. And you look into all kinds of creative avenues. And you don't go, oh, that's it, on your first day. You may take a year to come up with a good path, a good direction, a good option. And that means livelihood. What is your right livelihood? And what effort are you putting into? Are you working hard and not getting anything for it? Is that how you make your livelihood? It's going to change everything. It's going to change how you see your view, how you are in intention to do anything in life, how you're going to say things, how you're going to act. All that is going to be different if you practice meditation and mindfulness and take the time to not just jump in and think, well, I have to do this, I have to make it this way and I have to do it this way. I have to go to college. I have to make it through high school, I don't see how I made it through high school, It's impossible. If you look at me, if you know my history, it was impossible that I made it through high school. But I happened to be growing up in California, and California has the worst educational system They have nothing for people who at that time we called mentally retarded, you know, and people who had difficulty, like, all kinds of things they have today. They can't even get out of bed. They have OCD. They have all kinds of things, and that keeps them in a process where today we know how to label it, we know how to treat it, we know how to teach with it. We can not put them in a category with every other person in class, even though, like myself, I was a super genius. So all the answers just came to me, and I did not feel like studying, because the shit that they asked me to study wasn't true. The end thing wasn't true. So why waste my time? I'd rather go to the library and spend my time in school in the library, which I did. But that didn't mean that you graduate with good honors, but intention, view, action. And even when I was drafted in the military, oh shit, you're drafted. What, you go to prison or you go in the military? So you go in the military. View, intention, action, speech. They hand you a gun, intention, action, speech. No sir, no thank you, no way. Not happening, And then you get all this shit to happen to you, violence and aggression and hostile actions and all of that. But that's what comes from pushing against this bullshit, this war machine and this movie machine of everybody having fame, generals having, superpower, as though they can rule the world because they're a general. And they're not. They're just an egotistical fat person with a cigar. And they are in that position because there are generals and there are jobs for generals. And someone's got to have that job. And this is the biggest asshole in the joke. So it fits the position. It fits the acting position. And if you're doing what I'm saying, you're practicing your dharma. You become part of sangha. You can clear this thing by dispelling all the glamours. You can dispel all the glamours. And I know a lot of people, tens of thousands of people, are doing this now. There's a lot of people who watch my videos. A lot of people listen to my music. A lot of people are getting influenced by this. And that's affecting masses and masses and masses and masses of other people in the most silent way. Because all it is that everybody's just getting a better view. They're less freaked out. They're less anxious. They're less having bad conversations. They're less doing bad jobs, They've made decisions to leave that relationship, and now they're in a different situation, and all of that changes the karmic energetic field of the world. It opens the world into sangha, and that means that assholes, demons, really bad people can wake up because your actions are meritorious. And in Buddhism implies within you to share the light, to be empty. Even though you have no idea, you can't see the light, you can't feel it, you could just sense it because you are less anxious, which means you're more filled with light than you are with darkness. You're less dense, you're more light, you're more, integrated in a way that is allowing you to fuse with psychicism, telepathy, intuition, higher levels of thinking, that require this energy to flow through your body, to flow through your chakras, to flow through you. And as this continues, you become, an embodiment of the dispelling of glamour until it's all gone, until it's done and gone, until we're in a situation to where there is no more Elon Musk saying, hey, we're all going to Mars, we're colonizing, That's the biggest piece of bullshit that you ever, real estate agent-wise, that's really bad planning. Bad planning in every possible way you can think of. Truth is that it is all robotically controlled. It's all for mining. It has nothing to do with human beings and saving you and creating a new culture on Mars where people can grow. Because the moment you're there, the moment you're born, the moment you come out of your mother, you are a mutant. And your bones are thin and your blood cells are different. And the breathing that you do has nothing to do with the type of breathing you get from the vitality of the Schumann wave that comes from Earth, that exists within the Schumann wave. And without that Schumann wave, it's just like you have no heart next to you. It's the heart of the universe. And every planet's got it. And Mars is a hum. It's just a freaking hum. The moon is a hollow object. It's a bell, a hollow object. And I tell you this shit because you don't know it. In the future, you're going to know it. And enlightenment, you're going to go, holy shit, how do you get, through enlightenment, how do you get all that information? You know, how do you know? You know, without question, how do you know the Earth is a freaking bell? Well, you're going to find out it is. You go there with a big sledgehammer or something really hard that's metal, and you hit the moon, it will go bong, and then another bong, bong, and because it's reverberating from one side of the moon to the other side of the moon, from within the moon, just like a bell. And this happened many times when they landed the ships there, and all kinds of things happened. They went, holy shit, the moon is hollow, and it's a freaking bell. Yeah? So it's not a good place to go live. Yeah? It is it's like a camping site, a nice place for, transition, for science, for developing anti-gravity kind of technologies and engineering that requires that kind of relationship of, our work. Yeah, that would work that way, but not as colonizing. Yeah, and when we're under delusions, when we're a sick group of people on planet Earth, and we don't follow the right view, we don't follow right intention, we don't follow right action or speech, we do not meditate, we do not have mindfulness and effort, and our livelihood is a pig. Yeah. We eat shit. We eat terrible things. We eat Cracker Jacks. We eat candy bars like they're going out of style. We eat Hershey candy bars as though we are getting a special surprise. Oh boy, today I get a Hershey. Yum, 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 yum. And guess what? Tomorrow you'll probably get a Hershey too. It's never a special surprise. It's a horrifying event inside your life of having a McDonald's and having this is the worst movie that we could put out, for the betterment of humanity. And it leads us to insanity of thinking that we need to go to Mars. And it leads us to think that we should vote for Trump and that it's okay to have the kind of social situation we have. And the only thing that's going to alter this is the dispelling of the glamours that gives us this view. The wrong view, the wrong intention, the wrong action, the wrong speech, the wrong livelihood, the wrong effort. You're worse than a jackass, because a jackass will at least stop. It won't go any further. It'll just sit on its ass and say no. And then once it gets up, it turns around and goes back to the stall. And you can't stop it. You can't stop it. Well, we should at least be that smart, but we're not. We're like pigeons. We're like, things that, and dogs, Pavlov's scenario, we're just so much behavioral modification. Yeah. And that's our life. We live in that process because we haven't been taught the path of Dharma. Without the path of Dharma, we're going to take a direction, but it's going to be the wrong view. And it's going to have the wrong intention. You're going to think, Elon Musk, great, thank you for the cars. Yeah, thank you. But fuck you when it comes down to going to Mars. Yeah, great, go get stuff, go do things, have a good time, spend your money, but it is not happening for human beings to go to Mars. And that just puts everybody in their mind thinking, oh, I can't wait to go to Mars. That means you're not going to do anything here. Nothing. What are you going to do here? You're gonna focus on changing the world, making a better ecology. You're going to live your life and have a great family and go through good-natured spiritual understanding and want to live long, 120 years, 200 years, because you practice this. You practice this and you love life. You love the flowers. You're not going to see many on Mars. You're not going to see many in space. And when you do, it's, I remember It's the worst movie. You just don't understand. You have to see this view. You need to see my view. And that is what dispels glamour, is Christ consciousness. Christ consciousness. It's not a crazy thing. It's nothing that you have to join or anything like that. It is the consciousness of Christ in the view of where we're at. And there's an alternative to it. And you need to know that we're being led into a process that is stagnant in our nature, stagnant in every way, of everything that we want to do and how we want to do it. So, dispelling the world glamour is coming into effect. We come into 2030, we'll reach 2035. The light, the energy, the awakening of the chakras, the healing of the nations, all of that will be in effect, because this is an ongoing process, and you're under the influence of Christ the Buddha, and Christ is not going to turn you into Christ. Christ is going to turn you into Buddha, and there is a whole field of consciousness and livelihood that comes with it, infrastructure, housing, how you live, clothes you might want to, like the view. How do you see that view? Well, you need to be free. You need to have a collective consciousness of the same view and then rebuild what you've already got. Let it go. You need to be at such a place to where you can literally let it go. And then that's because you have an intention. This is going to work. This is going to be great. We're going to put everything into this. We're going to go toward ecology, and we're going to save the planet. We're not going to need to go to Mars. We're going to put all our trillions and trillions. That's a lot more than Elon Musk is putting into this. Trillions and trillions, $3.5 trillion going into society. What's that going to bring? Well, let me just show you. As of August 2021, a process of dispelling world glamour created an influence within our government that manifested as 21 members of Congress and 5 members of the U.S. Senate and 16 members of the U.S. House have announced that they will no longer seek re-election. 11 members and 15 senators and 6 representatives have announced that they will retire. All 5 retiring Senate members are Republicans, and of the retiring House members, 4 are Democrats and 2 are Republicans. This is an enormous number of people that are holding back society by living out an illusion and delusion. And what do these people do in their daytime? What do they, what's their process? Consider this. Many of these are being busted right now. And mainly it's for sexual abuse, assault, corruption, things like that. So right now I'm just going to show you the abuse side of things. This is legislative aid to the Republican, to Scott, the Democratic Virginian. And this guy here is accused of sexual misconduct and claimed that he fired her after she was dismissed and alleged advances. These are beginning stages of people that are getting ousted. There are people that are quitting. There are people that are no longer going to do the job, don't want to be reelected because it doesn't fit their ability to fulfill their glamour. And this guy is being hit from all sides to the point to where his glamour is being ousted, brought out in the open. And this guy, he's a real wiener. He abruptly resigned from Congress on December 8th after the Speaker Paul Ryan confronted him about allegations of House Ethics Committee announced it was investigating potential incidents of sexual abuse. And this nice guy, another Republican, he announced that he was resigning from the House Ethics Committee announced it was opening an investigation into his sexual misconduct. And this nice little fellow out of Texas, they found that he was doing a whole lot of things, and sexual harassment was one of the big ones. So after he left, he was then sued, and he's just now finishing off a payment of $84,000 that he has to pay for the process that he brought about. And this guy, really nice guy, longest serving active congressman and a founder of Congressional Black Caucus, retired from the House of Representatives on the 5th for multiple allegations of sexual misconduct were lodged against him. And that's only because of the time. This shit's been going on for hundreds of years. Ever since there's been fame, you take advantage. It is you get this badge of, I've got this badge, I am this famous person now, I'm going to take advantage of anybody and everybody, and I expect to eat free. I expect to sleep in your house for free. I expect my car to be free. All these advantages. And you got this Roy Moore. If you remember Roy Moore, he's one of the best friends of our President Trump. And Roy had a little situation when he was trying to get into the government in Alabama. He had misconduct, and the misconduct was where a 14-year-old girl he raped back when he was 32. And she went to court, and nothing ever happened of it. So she tried to, file charges. And it wasn't until recently that actually came back around. So when he wanted to become a senator, that came up. And he didn't get in, yeah. But here's another side of things from Dispelling World Glamour. Whoops. This is the working out of that glamour. It allows the movement of the things that you find in the intention inside the teachings, where it says, what is the view? Yeah. What is your intention? What are the actions we're going to take? Well, if you don't see anything, you don't fix anything. If you don't see the roads are all bubbly and have holes in them and everything, and if you don't see kids sick drinking brown water, and if you don't see bridges falling apart and dilapidated, unsafe bridges, still need to be fixing over the last 50 years, and you didn't see waterways that are filling up and uncontrolled, and you don't have a way of actually running large amounts of water to another area that needs water. You haven't figured that out yet. Yeah? And that's because of these politicians. They're taking all the money. Yeah? So in this new process of Dispelling World Glamour, a $3.5 billion scene is happening, and we're going to repair and rebuild all the roads, all the bridges. Focus, view, focus with intention and change, mitigation, resilience, equality, safety for all users, including cyclists and pedestrians. Imagine everywhere you go, you have a bicycle lane, not just on the lane of other cars, but you have your own freaking lane in the city that gets you without having to be in the mainstream of traffic. This happens in a lot of countries, in a lot of places, and it will happen here. We're going to be the #1 place in the world where the whole United States is paved for riding bikes. Yeah? Through the towns rather than on the main roads. Building a national network that also includes electric charging along all the highways in all rural areas and disadvantaged communities. and the largest investment in EV infrastructure in history, and accomplishing it through a presidential goal of building 500,000 EV chargers. Yeah, imagine that. Because now we're ending into the process. We're coming out of all new electric cars came. Yeah, well now there's going to be used electric car lots. Yeah, where you go to buy used electric cars, and there are used electric car people who will fix your electric car and switch out your battery or change up certain things that you need for maintenance. All these things in the infrastructure of this kind will come about. This will happen now, but it wouldn't have happened before. We'd be fighting the industry who sells the car, and they'd be pushing us just to buy another freaking car, rather than use the used cars that we've already got. And an EV car goes 1,000,000 miles, people. It's like what you would think with a diesel would go 1,000,000 miles, but an EV car does go 1,000,000 miles. Thousands of schools will have transit of electric buses going across the country, reducing harmful emissions, and drive domestic manufacturing of zero-emission vehicles and components. So it doesn't matter what a person is doing today, the infrastructure is set up. And this isn't going to happen tomorrow. This is going to happen over a 10, 20, 30-year cycle. So as we start building these things, putting these things together, it creates a shift inside of economy and allows people to, like right now, we have Tesla, and we have all these other people building and making cars, but we aren't doing the houses. We aren't doing all the things that it takes for us to live. So this means livelihood, and our ability to have our right effort going into effect. If we're spending half of our money on the fixing of our car, and of paying for its insurance, and maintaining the car with gas and all the maintenance that it takes to keep a car, so just for that alone, you're working to have that car and to support the car, not yourself, but the car. But once you get into the world where we have the electric car and where systems are set up in such a way to where we don't really have all the same infrastructure that we're settling for right now, because we have the bad view. We have no idea of what it is we could be doing. Like our electric bill could be zero. Your car could be zero because you have solar. You plug it in. It goes 400 or 500 miles. You normally don't go further than that. So it costs you nothing to drive your car. You never need maintenance on your car. So that's out the window. And if you drive the car in the best possible way, because the cars today will have all kinds of measures to keep you safe. Insurance should go down to $25 a month. $25 a month, max, for insurance. As a collective situation, we don't all get into crashes. And insurance is supposed to collect our money, pool it, and pay for the crashes that take place, not just become the richest company in the world by overcharging us for insurance that we shouldn't be paying for. We should be paying $5, $10, $25 a month, max, because we are masses of people. And that's what infrastructure will give you. It'll give you a new view to understand, holy shit, we're all wasting our money, and they're corrupting us. Then eliminate the nation's lead service lines and pipes delivering clean drinking water for 400,000 schools and child care facilities do not have proper drinking water. The plan is the largest investment in clean drinking water and wastewater infrastructure in American history. And that's pretty obvious because we haven't done shit. But all this gets done, connect every American to a reliable high-speed internet. And we're going to have the dish that's coming that gives us the fastest internet you can possibly imagine at an extremely low rate. So this is the fact that this is going to be supported along with other forms of internet will be supported, And we'll be able to have in our car, we won't be using a regular telephone anymore. It'll be a service within the internet. Yeah. So your telephone will be your internet service. Yeah. And not like a cellular service. It'll be a Wi-Fi service, because we'll have towers that are constantly sending, just like cellular does, but it'll be working within a Wi-Fi range. Imagine how much you're going to save money on that. No more phones. Yeah. No more phones. Yeah. And what phones you do get, they're not phones. So all that bullshit, LG and, all of them, Apple, all the bullshit phones, can now turn into what they're meant to be, mini computers. That's what they are. They're internet communication devices that work within Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and other means. But without that, without our view, without understanding right view, we don't know that everything is so inexpensive. There's hardly any cost to life whatsoever. And we don't know that yet. But when the infrastructure comes in and builds on that status, then we're set in a situation to where we no longer have a need of needing $30,000 a year to live middle class. We have probably a need of maybe $13,000 a year to live at a level of middle class with the best technology, the best house, the best car, the activity you need to do, and a bike, path that'll take you anywhere. You can ride all the way across America if you wanted to on a bicycle. That's going to be the future. Create a first-of-its-kind infrastructure financing authority that will leverage billions of dollars to clean transportation and clean energy, making the largest investment in addressing the legacy of pollution in American history. Cleanup effort that will create good-paying union jobs and advance environmental justice. It will prepare more infrastructure for the impact of climate change, cyber attacks, and extreme weather events. The framework is the largest investment in resilience of physical and natural systems in American history. The framework will generate significant economic benefits and returns, and is financed through a combination of closing the tax gap, redirecting unspent emergency relief funds, and targeting corporate user fees, and the microeconomic impact of infrastructure investment. In other words, every single thing will be supported. Yeah. And rather than holding money, keeping money in large and going, oh, we're going to make this program, and we'll work through this program because it's going to serve this need. Yeah. So then billions of dollars sit there because we never really fulfilled that need. We never really did that program. So we have billions and billions and billions of dollars sitting around in the United States of necessary money that can't be touched because it was set aside for a specific need, that we never figured out how to get it to that need, and what would be the best way to solve that need, so that money doesn't get used. So this is a whole new process of us being able to look at things in a much more clear-mindedness, using a focus of what is it that here we're focusing on clean energy, we're focusing on infrastructure, we're focusing on building, but the outcome of that is that it costs trillions of dollars, but it will make at least $20 trillion by the investment. The whole thing is an investment. It's not a cost. It's an investment. And we are worth investing into because we will triple that in the next 20 or 30 years. We will triple it. Every living human being. And out of that, this investment will leverage so much toward humanity. You will get free homes, the likelihood of having free cars, everything, almost everything, free, including food and opportunities that you need to be educated and learn things in order to advance humanity. You know, you want to go into those things. You can do those things. But it's not based on the fact that you have to earn this much money to survive. You're doing it because you see yourself doing that sort of thing. And we need these things being done. So I choose to join. Get in there and work. Get in there and learn. Get in there and apply myself in this particular way. And because there are gazillions of opportunities that will never have been ever existed before. You know, on every level. They'll be here. And that's what the dispelling of glamour does. It releases the Holy Spirit. It releases the light inside of the Holy Spirit, which is creative activity. Creative activity. And it allows goodwill and action. The good, the true, the beautiful. The outcome will be that. Because it's the clearing of the dispelling of glamour. And it is full of shit. You know, this is not the good, the true, the beautiful. It's the opposite. It's a lie, it's a lie, it's a lie. It's uglier than shit. It smells like shit. It tastes like shit. You know, it is horrifying. And we don't even have the gumph to stop them, capture them, and we go around beating up people just because of their color. Just because of their position in life. You know? And we act somebody. It is just a state of insanity. And this action that's happening is the way we heal it. We heal it. We sponsor and we invest in humanity. There's an enormous amount of this that's going into the Native Americans and going into communities where there is very little money, very little infrastructure toward a nice house and a nice community and a nice, you know, businesses and all the things that you could start up a business and you could have money to do so, you know. And it's not because, you know, you're white or you're a Catholic or you're Jewish or something of that nature. It's because you are a human being, yeah, and that this infrastructure that's being set up is to bring about that healing. You know, it'll bring about a healing inside of us that we have no idea that we are crazy, and we're crazy for a reason. We're beaten down, we're lied to, and we have false representation. Yeah, and then, you know, you get to this point, you know, we all have to realize that it can't get worse. It's got to get better. You know, there's no way that this can get worse. You know, other than today, Trump becomes president. And, well, that didn't happen. So it's not going to get worse. It's going to get better. And it's everything that I'm saying. Because it's through the dispelling of world glamour. You can't, it is not God in the machine. It's not something that, I'll fix this and it'll fix everything. No, it's not. God's the creator. God destroys. And God recreates. It is the will of the rays. It's the will of love. It's the will of the chakras. They allow things to change and to grow and to evolve. Every plant, every animal, everything goes through this process. And we're now in that process. And now we're receiving the vitality of prana that was supposed to be the third ray you call money. Where in reality, it's actually prana. And now all that money is being invested into humanity, creating prana. Alleviating humanity because it's an investment of prasadam. It's an investment of spiritual nature, of compassion and understanding without thinking that, you know, you're going to make anything back for it. But the truth is you're going to. Yeah? Because that's what merit does. Merit makes a better world. You do something good and kind, you'll find other people doing good and kind things. So it becomes a better world. Yeah. So that's the teaching for that one. So let's do puja. And then we're going to do, I invoke the alignment of the 7 rays. And it's the 7 rays of God, not to the chakras, but to the world and everybody and all things. Okay, let's do our invocation. Okay, repeat after me. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. to guide me into the right activity in the plan, to clarify and stimulate my mind, to transform and transmute my feelings and emotions, to energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body, so there is a normal flow of energy in my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ, to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Every 10 seconds, I'm going to do an Om. We'll all do it together. Take a deep breath. I invoke the 7 rays to raise the senses of humanity, expressed as the soul. I invoke the sense of hearing. Intellect as the 5th ray, as the knowledge of God. I invoke the sense of intuition as the 2nd ray, the understanding of God. I call upon the synthesis of the seven rays to be expressed through your personality, as the first ray of ideas, the mental body, the purpose, your life. Ideals, the astral body, and your quality. The third ray of idols, your physical body and your form. The fourth ray of the fourth kingdom, of humanity in balance. The fifth ray, the third kingdom, the animals. The sixth ray, the second kingdom, vegetables. Seventh ray, the first kingdom, minerals. I call upon the relationships of all the kingdoms to penetrate the personality of humanity and express its collective soul. Seventh ray and the fourth ray is the mineral kingdom. The second ray, the fourth ray, and the sixth ray as the vegetable kingdom. The third ray and the sixth ray as the animal kingdom. The fourth ray and the fifth ray as the human kingdom. The fifth ray and the second ray as the egoic soul. The sixth ray and the third ray as planetary lives. The first ray and the seventh ray as solar lives. make manifest peace on earth as one living whole body of God. I call upon India to bring forth its fourth ray of personality and to integrate its first ray of soul to manifest the hidden light. I invoke China to bring forth its third ray personality to integrate its egoic soul into its first ray to manifest as the indication of the way. I invoke Germany to bring forth its first ray of personality to integrate its egoic soul of fourth ray to preserve the truth. I invoke France and its third ray personality to integrate its fifth ray of egoic soul to release the light. I invoke Great Britain and its first ray personality and its second ray egoic soul to bring forth its service. I invoke Italy and its fourth ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to carve the two paths. I invoke the United States and its sixth ray personality to integrate its second ray soul to light the way. I invoke Russia and its sixth ray personality to integrate its seventh ray soul to link the two ways. I invoke Australia and its fifth ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul and serve the lighted way. I invoke Spain and its seventh ray personality to integrate its sixth ray soul to disperse the clouds. I invoke Brazil and its second ray personality to integrate its fourth ray soul to hide the sea. I invoke the entity of this planet, the planetary logos, to incarnate the life and the beingness of this planet. I invoke the expression of the second ray force into both the personality and the egoic rays of the nation and the personality of the egoic ray of humanity to fuse itself and its light into its healing process. I invoke the esoteric law of solar energy to make manifest the cosmic force of light, love, and peace. Okay, just relax. Okay, open your eyes. So, dispelling the world glamour is actually a science. Yeah, and religion is a science. That's why science is so incredible. Science reveals God. Science justifies creation. Science is amazing, and so is the science of God. There are certain elevated realities we have to get to before we can understand the science of God. We have to get past gravity, we have to get past many different things, the illusion of light, speed, time, all these kind of things. We have to come up with proper answers and utilize those energies, utilize those fields of reality. And when you do that, you only do that because of your view and your intention and your speech and all those things that are coming together. So imagine those things that I talk to people about, from as Jesus or as Buddha or as Krishna. Many lives I've been doing this, and I give the same teaching. If you do this and you become a disciple, the influence of the Lord will aspire you by waking up within you. And that's called bodhisattva. In a Buddhist way, that's called bodhisattva. So then, as that wakes up within you, there is a view that you now have rather than from your mom and your dad or from yourself. You literally have it from the Lord of the world who created you. Created you. Not only just created you, but created everything you're in. Everything you're in. So imagine that Lord is an omnipresent being. It's different than yourself. It's an omnipresent being. It doesn't have another self. It has itself. And itself is everything. Itself is everything. Itself is every person, every ant, every tree, the earth, all the solar system, all things comes from this being that you see as a human being, but in reality it is the Lord, microcosm, macrocosm. So that's the reason for the teaching. It's to help me heal myself, help me heal your suffering, and your suffering is my suffering because we're the same. So I have to give you teachings, I have to go through the process, and I have to keep ushering in this process, but I have to provide everything. I have to provide all the understanding, all the science, all the form, it's a redirecting of not knowing, not understanding, not having wisdom to knowing and having understanding and having wisdom. It's all given to you through the blessings that come with what I'm, helping. By dispelling glamour, it wakes up wisdom rather than your intellect and your pride and all the things that come with that. Because your intellect will cross out God. You will intellectualize with God. And because God's not an intellectualizer, then you're going to think you're smarter than God. Because God doesn't think like you. So now you're not in competition with God. You don't believe in God. What makes you believe you exist as God? I exist. We all exist. Everything exists. What makes you think you're God? And that's that omnipresent reality that is in the enlightenment of God. It's different than in everybody else. And on the path, I provide the teachings that says, this is how we get it. This is how we heal all the suffering. This is how we get it. And you get it by following these simple things. Meditate. Listen to my pujas. Use a little effort. Use mindfulness. Put it into your life. Don't work all the time. Go back. Meditate. Put my pujas into your mind. Use mindfulness. Put a little effort into it. yeah, and change your livelihood to where this becomes your life, yeah, and then it becomes your speech. All your insanity, your meanness, your aggression, all of that changes. Your speech changes, your intention changes, and your view changes. But that means everything around you is changing without you doing shit. All you're doing really is meditating, using mindfulness, and an effort to meditate and use mindfulness. Clearing the shit that is the suffering, that comes from your speech and wrong livelihood, wrong actions. You could spend your entire life spinning a wheel like a rat, or you could seek enlightenment. And everybody chooses the rat. Everybody chooses the rat. It's a weird thing, but it's true. It's easier to follow the left-hand path than it is to follow the right-hand path. To follow the right-hand path, you have to use effort, and you have to change your livelihood. And you can't focus on, I'm going to change my speech, that's going to make me better. I'm going to change my intention, that's going to make me better. I'm going to change what I think is my view, yeah? And you haven't changed your view at all. It doesn't come until you're mindfulness, you meditate, and you put effort to be mindfulness and meditate. And that becomes your livelihood. And you speak like you meditate and you have mindfulness, because the things you say are not harmful. You got to realize that the only reason there's suffering out there is because of the harm. And you get rid of the hate, do these things, enter in with the Lord, and you will be purified and the whole earth will be saved. Yep. I promise you. It's a fact. I can say I guarantee it, but I've been doing that forever. So look around you. I guarantee it. Yeah.